This is the solution to the exercise in Lesson 9. The instructions are to create a list box on a form with a button, and when the button is clicked, you'll add up values that are associated with each item in the list box. So, for example, foo, you would add 1 to the total value, bar, you'd add 2 to the total value, and so on. And so when the user selects multiple items, you would add all those up and then display them in a message box somehow. So this will include both elements of selection statements and iteration statements. Now this might be a little complicated because we didn't demonstrate exactly how to do this in the lesson text nor in the video, but I think you'll be able to figure it out if you spend a little time just working through some of the concepts and the help associated with this lesson. So let's do this. I'm going to go and create a new project. It's going to be a C# Windows application. I'm just going to call this Lesson 09EX. I'm going to click OK. And here I'm going to put a Listbox control. And I'm going to call this LST list. I'll resize this a little bit. And then I'm going to put a button. I'm going to call this BTN Go. And I'll change the text here to go, or something like that. Now I'm going to go back to my LST list and add some items. Here's my items property. I'm going to click the ellipsis to add items to the collection. And I'm just going to do foo, bar, baz, and quirk. And click OK. So those items now appear in my list box. Then I'm going to write code behind my BTN Go button. And what I'm trying to do here is to calculate a total value based on the selections that the users make in that list box. So I'm going to create, first of all, a total value variable and initialize its value to 0. And the next thing that I'm going to do is start to iterate through each item in the list box. And then I'm going to determine whether or not that particular item is selected. If it is selected, then I'm going to use a switch statement to find out which one of the items we're currently working with, and then add a value to the total value variable based on that. So just follow along as I go through this. First, I'm going to set up my iteration to loop through each item of the list box. Okay, so now I'm moving through each item of the list box, and I want to check to see if the current item for the current iteration is selected. So this is what I'll do: lst list dot get selected, and then I'll pass in current item. So this will give me the current item, and it'll return either true if that item has been selected in the list, or false if it's not selected. Now inside this if statement, I want to see which item are we currently on. Get the text for that item. So lst list.items current item dot toString. So in the case of foo, we'll take total value plus equal 1, and then break. Case bar case baz and then quirk. And the final thing that I'll need to do is to make sure that I display the value of total value in a message box. Okay. So let me just take a quick look over my code to make sure there's no spelling mistakes or anything like that. Okay, it looks good from an initial run through. So let's run it and see if I have any problems with my application. Uh-oh. I just made a mistake here. I used square brackets rather than curly, rather than parentheses. Okay, that seemed to fix the problem. So if I just select foo and click go, it'll return the number 1. If I just click quirk and hit go, it'll return 4. What if I hold down the control button or the shift button rather? Well, I see I have a problem because I'm holding down control and shift and I'm still only selecting 1. So there's a property I'll need to change on my list box that will allow multiple selection. So let's take a look at the property window and find something that might suit our need here, and we see a selection mode of 1, and let's just click multi-simple. That should work. So now let's test our application again. Now I'm going to hold down the control and I can select 2. I'm going to hold down the shift and I can select multiples, so that's great, and unselect things. Okay, so here we go. Foo and quirk. Quirk is 4, foo is 1, so if I hit go it should return 5, and it does. So that was the solution to the exercise for lesson 9. Hope you got close.